Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Good morning, Mr. Leach. Have you had a busy day?
Good morning.
Good morning, Frank. How you doing this morning, bud? What are you doing out of bed already? Huh? What are you doing up so early? Everybody wake you up, Martin? And good morning to you, Mr. Three-Legged Deer. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the ranch. I'm Dr. Lee. It is another beautiful day in South Texas. About 51 degrees outside this morning, so it's a little bit chilly, especially for us thin-skinned Texans. I hope you guys are doing all right. We've had a really busy week, and I meant to say, please don't let the intro freak you out. Bud is still on Rainbow Bridge, and the three-legged deer has not been seen in almost a year now. That was just a sweet little intro that I kind of stumbled on the other day. I hadn't seen it in a long time, and I just thought, I want to use that again. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed getting to see our old pals there. But nevertheless, guys, this is going to kind of pick up, this video today is going to kind of pick up where we left off last time, where we went up to the lake house and I showed you the flood and how the boathouse had been all flooded out. And a lot of y'all, I used the term constant level lake, and a lot of y'all said, Dr. Lee, what is a constant level lake? We do not understand that. And basically, the lake that we are on is a series of lakes called the Highland Lakes. And the particular lake we're on has a dam that is before it and a dam that's after it. And this big river runs through all of these lakes. And so they control how much water comes into the lake. They also control how much water goes out of the lake. And for the last 38 years that we have been frequenting this particular lake, we've never seen it flood more than a couple of feet at a time. And our boat dock is about 2 feet over the water. So in the past previous big floods, it just came up to the floor, and that was about it. We have never seen anything like this, where not only did it come up to the floor, but it came up another 4.5 feet on top of that. So it was a pretty substantial flood, and like I said, it's called a constant level lake because almost all the time it has the same amount of water, usually within 6 inches. Every time you get to the lake, the level's just about the same. So, and like I said, for almost 40 years, it's been the same. So this was quite a shocker. But nevertheless, the last video, the way we left that with you, we had gotten there after the big flood. We still had water really high, and the fireman had come around and was telling everyone to evacuate, that not only was it going to get up as high as it had the previous day, but also probably another 5 feet higher than that. So we knew that everything downstream would be a wreck. We knew that our boat dock and everything would probably be gone, boat, everything. And we were even worried about whether we would get water into the house, which is much higher than the boat dock. And we were there. There was no cell service. There was no TV. There was no internet. There was no way to get news. So we heeded the fireman's advice and we came back to the ranch. So the very next day we went back to see what we had, and lo and behold, I'll show you, I'll put 2 drone videos up here. One is on day 1 and the other one is on day 2, and I'll put them side by side so you can kind of see the pans aren't really smooth and they don't match up perfectly, but you'll kind of get an idea. The one on the left is from day 1. You can actually tell by the color of the water. It is brown and murky. And you can see that the levels of that are way up into the yards, as opposed to the video on the right, which is day 2. With day 2, you can actually see the retaining walls, or some people up north, I believe, refer to them as bulkheads, the concrete sidewalks that go along the shoreline that keep the waves from eroding the land. You can actually see those in the second video we shot, which is the one that's on your right right now. And unfortunately, I was completely wrong on the last video when I picked up the boat cover and just peeked in, and it was kind of getting dark outside. I couldn't see very well anyway. I just saw that there was no water in my boat, and I told my wife, on camera of course, we got lucky. There's no water in the boat. What I did not realize is last time I winterized the boat, I left the plug, the drain plug in the very middle bottom of the boat, I left it out, so it was open. So what happened is the water came up and it literally flooded my boat, and this flood carried a lot of mud, thick gooey mud, just like Hershey syrup is what was left on the dock. But all of that stuff came up through the boat, and it was on a level higher than the top of the motor, unfortunately, over the gauges, over all the seats. And then as the lake came back down, all that water drained out of it, and boy did it leave a mess. So the motor's flooded with nasty water, the transmission's flooded with nasty water, and so is the fuel tank. So you know, at least I have my boat. There's a lot of guys who lost their boats, and again, it's just stuff. It's not that big of a deal. I'll bring it back as soon as the lake clears a little bit. I'll get the jet skis up there, bring it around, put it on a trailer, and I'll bring it home, and we'll tear it apart and clean it up and get it ready for next year. And again, like I said earlier, we had about 4.5 feet of water in the boathouse, and everything in the little rooms of the boathouse that we had, including about a 400-pound riding lawnmower, everything that could float did. Everything that was hanging on the walls under 4.5 feet floated. Everything went up to the top, and as the flood water subsided, our floors are slatted, so the water went right back quickly. But as the water came down, so did all of that stuff. And all of it, none of it went back where it was supposed to be. All the stuff that was on shelves, we had all the life jackets on a hanger rod, on a closet rod. Everything was up where it was supposed to be, and when the waters came down, it just made this big mess. And the doors, unfortunately, to these rooms open to the inside, so all the doors were blocked. Not only were they swollen shut from being soaked in water, submerged in water, but also there was stuff piled up behind them. In one of them, there was a wheelbarrow full of water that was back there. That was a booger to get open, and the lawnmower literally floated. I would have bet money that lawnmower would not float, but it did. I guess the air in the tires is enough to get it up off the ground, or at least with the buoyance of the water allowed it to move around a little bit. But nevertheless, it was a royal mess. Here's you a little video tour. I have no clue where that sign came from, but I threw it in there. I thought you guys would appreciate that. You know, sometimes you just have to smile and laugh, right? This particular area of the state is not only graced with beautiful lakes and rivers, it is also rich in history. And I know a lot of you guys out there really enjoy history, so I'll tell you a little story right quick. This particular mountain that you see in the background here is called Pack Saddle Mountain, and it was the site of the last Indian battle in this area. It happened in 1873. I believe it was August the 4th, and this whole area, which is called Llano County, L-L-A-N-O, Llano, not Llano, that area was back then the Moss Ranch, M-O-S-S. And like today, we have ranches that are 500 and 800 acres. Back then, that whole county, the area that we call a whole county now, was the Moss Ranch. So massive ranch. It was run by a fellow named Captain J.R. Moss. And one day Captain Moss was in his ranch house, and one of the ladies that lived there on the ranch came running in, and she had an arrow stuck in her side. The Apaches had come raiding through there and shot this poor woman. So he left this poor lady in with the other women to attend her wounds. And Captain Moss grabbed 7 other men, and he had a pretty good idea where these Indians were headed, and so he gave chase, and he found them on the backside of Pack Saddle Mountain. And he went back there. There were 21 of them, and Captain Moss had 8 guys total, including himself. And they got into this big battle. They killed 3 of the Indians, and 3 of Captain Moss's men were injured in the battle. They had a bunch of stolen horses there, and Captain Moss was able to recover those horses and run the Apaches off. And that was the last cowboy and Indians battle that took place. But anyway, pretty cool story there, and it's just so hard to believe, you know, in time, that really wasn't that long ago. And just to think that that happened, you know, just right over there on those mountains. So history always kind of gives me a little bit of a rush anyway. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. For those of you that are not history buffs, I hope that was not brutal, and I appreciate you accommodating me. Thank you very much. So folks, with all the floods behind us now, looking back, we consider ourselves very fortunate. A lot of people lost their homes. A lot of people lost their livelihoods. A lot of people had tremendous financial losses from which they will have a very difficult time recovering. And to us, it was just stuff. To us, it was just, you know, it basically just created work that we had to go do when we have bigger fish to fry right now. But you know, that's okay. That's just another part of life, and I don't begrudge any of it. Like I said, it's a first world for us. It's a first world problem. For a lot of people, it was a real big problem. And for those people, our prayers go out to them, and our kind wishes and thoughts and positive energy goes out to them too. So hopefully they are all doing better, and will recover from this soon. And you know, Mother Nature always bounces back. I was sitting out there scrubbing mud off the decks of that old boat dock, and looked up, and here came a beautiful flock, or gaggle if you will, of Canadian geese. And you know, Mother Nature just keeps on rolling. Just a beautiful thing. Well folks, that's about it from out on the ranch today. I really appreciate you guys stopping by. I always appreciate your kind comments. I would like to thank you for all the wonderful cards you have sent Mark and Uncle Floyd and me. We all needed that, and I thank you very much. Mark is doing well. He had a doctor's appointment yesterday. He will have another one tomorrow, and maybe even as early as Friday, he will get into MD Anderson, the cancer center in Houston. And that's our hope and our prayer for him right now, is we can get him down there as soon as possible and get that boy all fixed up and back on the road. I guess he really hasn't gotten off on the road. He and Drew yesterday were out here on the ranch riding four-wheelers and motorcycles. dirt bikes out in the mud, because it's been raining for 6 weeks now, and the ranch has got a lot of mud. And Mark had an appointment to take the kids to the dentist shortly thereafter, and had to go home and change clothes before going to the dentist because he enjoyed himself way too much. Anyway, guys, we appreciate all your prayers. We appreciate all your wonderful, kind wishes and sweet thoughts. I just love you guys. Y'all are just the best. You're just the best thing, and the way you love my family and the way I love you. It's just this silly little YouTube channel has really created a wonderful community of good friends that more than likely will never meet each other personally, but we'll always have this. So guys, thank you very much. I just really appreciate you more than you know. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Always remember I love you. You guys take care. Bye-bye. So what you doing there, Al?
Neutering a dog, Dad.
All right. Who's gonna learn you?
That's a mistake.